It was just the place to go on a Sunday.
The Indian woman nicknamed Lady Tarzan for fighting off illegal loggers.
We would confront the mafia in the forest many times. They would threaten us and said, "This is our forest, and if you create obstacles to our work, it will not be good for you."
That's why Iran's 2009 election sparked millions of people to protest on the streets, the Bolivian president who went on hunger strike in the 1980s, and the Moroccans who faced an army to take back Spanish Sahara for their king.
I got carried away, crying and shouting with emotion. I could see men and women advancing. They were willing to become martyrs to defend our territory.
First, today's news.
Hello, I'm Emily Thomas with the BBC News. The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi says the opening of a Hindu temple in the northern city of Ayodhya has heralded a new era for the country. The temple was built on the ruins of a 16th century mosque. Yogita Lamoye reports.
The atmosphere in Ayodhya is like a festival. The city has been decorated with strings of marigold flowers and thousands of saffron flags with pictures of Hindu deity Lord Ram. Actors, business leaders and politicians are attending the ceremony at the Grand Temple, built at a cost of more than $200 million. Many accuse the Prime Minister of violating India's secular constitution by opening the temple. It's also controversial because of the divisive history of the site. A 16th century mosque which stood there was illegally demolished by Hindu mobs in 1992, triggering religious violence across the country in which thousands were killed.
The World Health Organization has hailed the first rollout of a malaria vaccine as life-saving. It follows successful pilot campaigns in Kenya, Ghana and Malawi. Aurelia Nguyen at the Vaccine Alliance Gavi, that's leading the financing of this international rollout, told the BBC why the focus is children.
Children are the ones who are at most risk of developing a malaria that's going to be severe and cause hospitalization and even worse, death. So targeting children was going to be absolutely the most essential thing to do. Out of the 500,000 deaths due to malaria every year, almost 76% are in children under 5 years old.
It will focus on infants in Cameroon. At least 3 people have been killed in southwestern China after a landslide destroyed houses in the remote and mountainous Yunnan province. Laura Bicker is in Beijing.
47 people were initially missing from 18 separate households. We have heard from Chinese state media that within the last few hours, rescuers have managed to find 4 people in the rubble. Sadly, 3 of those have died, but 1 person we understand has been rescued alive. State media has shown pictures of hundreds of rescuers combing the hillside, going through collapsed bricks and mortar to try to find anyone alive. But they are dealing with very difficult conditions. Not only is this a remote area, temperatures in the region have plunged over the last few days.
As Israeli forces continue to bombard Gaza, residents of the southern city of Khan Yunis say that tanks have surrounded a hospital and university where thousands of people are taking refuge. The Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, has rejected the latest demand by Hamas for full Israeli withdrawal as a condition for the release of hostages, saying it would amount to a surrender. BBC News. European Union foreign ministers are holding separate talks on the war in Gaza with Israel's foreign minister and the Palestinian Authority's top diplomat, as well as several other Arab foreign ministers. The EU's foreign policy chief, Josep Borrell, has reiterated his call for an eventual 2-state solution, saying that Israel couldn't achieve peace solely by military means. The Russian-installed authorities in the occupied Ukrainian city of Donetsk say 130,000 people are without power. It comes after reports of Ukrainian drone attacks on electricity substations in Donetsk and the adjoining city of Makiivka. Power cuts are also affecting heating and water supplies. Australia has axed its Golden Visa program, which granted wealthy overseas investors the right to live in the country. Designed to attract foreign business, it was cut as part of an immigration overhaul by the government after a series of reviews found it was failing to deliver. Critics had long argued that the scheme was being used to park illicit funds in the country, and a 2016 government inquiry raised concerns over potential money laundering. A court in Vietnam has sentenced 9 people to death for drug trafficking. 2 others have been jailed for life. Jae Sung Lee has the details.
Vietnamese media said the drug ring members were found guilty of trafficking 105 kilograms of methamphetamine, heroin, and other synthetic drugs from neighboring Laos to Vietnam between 2021 and their arrests in 2022. They reportedly bought the drugs in Laos and hired smugglers to transport the illegal substances across the border through the jungle at night to try to avoid detection. Drug trafficking is rife in Vietnam despite the Southeast Asian country having one of the strictest anti-drug laws in the world. The human rights group Amnesty International says Vietnam regularly hands out death sentences for drug convictions.
Jae Sung Lee reporting. That was the latest world news from the BBC.
Hello, this is the History Hour with Max Pearson, this week's witnesses to events from the past who've appeared on the BBC World Service. Coming up, we experience Iran's notorious Evin prison in the company of a journalist arrested for covering the 2009 protests against the Islamic regime. Also, Bolivia's president who went on hunger strike in the 1980s, Morocco's Green March into the Western Sahara, and we meet India's Lady Tarzan, fighting to protect the country's native forest. And in fact, there's something of a positive ecological theme to the start of the programme today. Back in the 1970s, Nigerian families went wild for one of the country's biggest tourist attractions, a zoo. Now, zoos don't always enjoy the best of press, but for a while the Ibadan Zoo achieved a very special status in the hearts of a nation, and it was a British zoologist, Bob Golding, who had helped to create it. Ben Henderson has been hearing how.
Bob threw great parties. The right music, the right atmosphere, food, drink. People loved his parties.
This is Peaches Golding. She met Bob in 1976 when he ran the zoo.
One night he was having a party, and up came the blue lights from the police. 2 or 3 police cars came, went to the flat. Well, of course, everybody at the party was thinking, oh my goodness, what on earth is going on here? And the police said, we hear that you've got this snake here. And Bob said, yes. They said, we've come to see it being fed.
Now, Bob had a history with snakes. Growing up in Bristol, in the UK, he terrified his grandmother once when he brought one home. He spent his school holidays working at Bristol Zoo, and his affinity with animals was soon noticed by the famous naturalist Gerald Durrell, who took 19-year-old Bob on a trip to Cameroon as his assistant. In 1963, now in his mid-20s, Bob was appointed curator of the Zoological Garden at the University of Ibadan in southwest Nigeria. The zoo had a small collection of animals when he took over, but Bob turned it into one of the country's most famous attractions. Peaches, meanwhile, was brought up in North Carolina on the east coast of the United States, but they would be drawn together by a shared love of reptiles.
After I left university, I decided to go to West Africa, and lo and behold, I met Bob. I had just gone to see a new exhibit that he had opened, an exhibit of the most amazing snakes, 50-kilogram Burmese pythons, and he came right over, and we started talking about snakes, because I used to have snakes as well.
But not everyone welcomed Peaches to the zoo.
2 traders had killed the mothers of these tiny, tiny baby gorillas. So the government asked Bob to look after and rear these animals. So Bob had built a wonderful enclosure. So Bob went in and took me in very early on in our relationship. And he called Aruna, which was the name of the male gorilla. So he called Aruna and said to Aruna, hold your hand out. And Aruna very reluctantly held his hand out like Bob had taught him to do. And after that occasion, I noticed that every time I went around to have a look at the gorillas, the minute I would turn away, he'd fling his hand out, and a whole handful of gorilla poo would just soil my shirt, my trousers, absolutely everything. You wouldn't believe it. 20 meters or more, perhaps. He was a good shot.
Thankfully, the gorillas weren't so hostile to other visitors.
On a Sunday morning, you would see the Nigerian local people dressed in their Sunday fineries, and you'd see the women with their beautiful wrapper and booba, the shirt and skirt that they would wear, and a head wrap, all in the same material, absolutely gorgeous. Little girls with bows in their hairs, and you would think, my goodness, are they going to Glastonbury? Are they going to some big event somewhere? They were going to Bob's Zoo, and they were captivated by the snakes, by the gorillas, the chimpanzees, the lions, the hyenas. It was just the place to go on a Sunday. Actually, they said at the time, it had the largest attendance numbers of any public amenity in all of Africa at that time. Isn't that amazing?
Around 250,000 visitors a year flocked to the zoo. It was so popular, Bob even presented a TV series in which he introduced Nigerian schoolchildren to his animal kingdom. But he was never too busy to dote on Peaches.
At our house, Bob loved beautiful things. So as I take myself back to sitting on the veranda, I look out into the garden, which is full of hibiscus, beautiful flowering hibiscus. And one day, as I was going to work, by this time I was teaching in secondary school, he said to me, "Put a flower in your hair." And so every day I would put a flower in my hair. If there were days I forgot to wear my flower, he'd say, with a flower in his hand, placed at my place for breakfast, "Oh, have you stopped wearing your flowers?" And of course, I pick it up and put it in my ear and walk very happily out. And I still have a cutting of that hibiscus from 40 years ago that grows in my conservatory.
Bob and Peaches left Nigeria for the UK in 1979. Accompanied by a royal python they shared their home with for more than 25 years. They married in 1981, but left the snake at home for the ceremony. Bob never stopped protecting animals. Here he is being interviewed by the BBC in 1983.
With me is Bob Golding. Morning, Bob. Good morning. He's the man who's responsible for bringing the pandas to this country. They're Floyd from America and Minka from Australia. Why bring them to this country?
They're part of an effort by zoos all over the world now to establish pairs in order to breed them.
What are the chances then, do you think, that they will mate?
Well, they did mate, as a matter of fact. I mean, they mated within about 45 minutes of being placed together.
Did they really?
Yes.
Well, keep up the bamboo shoots, and with any luck, there'll soon be more than two.
We very much hope so.
Bob worked in zoos across the UK and helped set up one of the first wildlife hospitals in Europe. He died in 2022, aged 84.
I was just wondering if you had any conversations at the time or over the years since that revealed to you what the zoo meant to Nigerians.
Well, it's very interesting because I was getting into a taxi with our son in London, and I could tell that this gentleman was from Yoruba land, and we asked if he knew Ibadan. He said yes, he had been there a couple of times. And so I said to him, have you ever been to the zoo at the University of Ibadan? My son was, elbow in my ribs. Will you shut up, Mum? And this man said yes. And I said, it was my husband that developed that zoo. And wow, did he not like it? He talked about the lions. He talked about the gorillas. He talked about the snakes. He talked about absolutely everything. So there is an age of people who remember very fondly those Sundays looking at those animals and marveling at the wonderful wildlife of West Africa.
And I was wondering, are you wearing a hibiscus flower in your hair today?
Not today. But in a couple of weeks when it's spring again and they're making flower buds, you better believe I'll have one.
Bob Golding's wife, Peaches, was talking to Ben Henderson. Ibadan is still open today, but like many zoos, it's had to juggle investment worries and ethical concerns, and even the restrictions of COVID. But history tells us that animals will always hold a fascination for us humans. Professor Harriet Ritbo is a historian at Massachusetts Institute of Technology, or MIT, in the US, and specializes in the history of relationships between humans and animals. And if we look back over history, Harriet, there are sort of moments that illustrate that quite well. So let's start off with the story of the first giraffe who ever arrived in France.
Yeah, she was the first giraffe to come to Europe for 3 centuries. That happened in 1827, and the giraffe was a gift from the ruler of Egypt to the ruler of France. He also sent at the same time giraffes to London and Vienna. The giraffe made a very long, slow progress from Sudan, where she was captured, to Paris. Took months and months. I mean, she was young, and that was a common way to get animals that could be large and dangerous and difficult to handle. That is, get a young one, but it meant usually killing their mother. And as she went through France, at every town, as well as in Paris when she arrived, there were enormous crowds.
The fascination with animals is well established over many, many years, but there have, of course, been campaigners who simply don't believe that animals should be captured and then held in zoos.
Yes, and the set of objections have been around for a couple hundred years since the beginning of public zoos. Sometimes there's simply an objection on principle, that is, a wild animal should be free. Sometimes they reflect the conditions of capture and transport, especially in the early days, the mortality rate was very, very high. Sometimes they reflect the conditions in which animals in public zoos, as well as animals in traveling menageries and sideshows, were held, cramped, damp quarters. It's not always clear.
But is it fair to say that there have been species which have been saved from the brink of extinction because they have been kept in captivity and bred?
Oh yes, the great example is the American bison, which now is so numerous, but early in the 20th century was down to a very few animals.
There are, of course, examples at the other end of the extreme, if you like, where zoos haven't always put the animal welfare front and center. And there's one example from Tokyo Zoo during the Second World War, which was, in some ways quite shocking.
Well, the Tokyo Zoo is an extreme of something that actually happened or was considered in zoos in pretty much all the cities that were in danger of aerial bombardment in the Second World War. But in 1943, as the war seemed to be going badly, the larger and more dangerous animals in the Tokyo Zoo were killed. They were mostly poisoned or starved, many of them, including some that were real public favors, like there were a couple of performing elephants named Tonki and Wanri. The actual killing went on in secret. The reason, partly because zoos are elaborate operations to maintain in the time of shortage, and partly because there is a potential danger if enemy action releases animals from their cages, that they will actually run around and harm people. But after it was done, the animals were presented as martyrs in the cause of the nation, sacrifices for the war effort. And there was actually a giant memorial service. So it was packaged in a way that recalled the emotional tie between zoogoers and animals in many cases.
And animals have also been put to use by humans in that other way of diplomacy. And that takes us almost back to the giraffe in France. But that is still going on today, of course, with the Chinese pandas.
So yes, in the early 1970s, in connection with the opening of China associated with Richard Nixon, the Chinese gave 2 pandas to the United States. They were a gift, and they got a very nice enclosure built for them in the Washington Zoo. I remember visiting it when they were new. They were fun to see, although they were pretty torpid. I remember one of them was laying against a tree trunk with his head on the ground and his feet in the air, and they lasted a few decades. Now, the current pandas that were in the United States, as well as the ones elsewhere along the world, are not gifts. They're actually leased by the Chinese government. And so not only do the zoos have to pay for them year by year, but they have to promise to give them back.
So the Chinese get the diplomatic uplift, but they don't lose the panda.
Exactly.
That's Professor Harriet Ritvo, who studies the history of relationships between humans and animals at MIT in the US. Our next story from the past is another example of the connection that forms between humankind and nature, and the conflict that can happen when the urge to protect the environment clashes with the urge to exploit it. This is about a woman who has become known as Lady Tarzan. She earned the title after standing up to the so-called timber mafia in India in the mid-2000s. She's been telling George Crafer about her run-ins with the mafia.
One night at 1:30 a.m., around 7 to 8 men broke into my house and they tied up my husband and stole everything they found.
To understand what just happened here, we've got to go back to the 1980s when a young girl called Jamuna Tudu learnt to protect her surrounding natural habitat with her dad.
I was born in Mayurbhanj district of Odisha. There used to be big stones there, the size of mountains. When I used to go there with my father, I used to see how empty it was and how strong the sunlight was. My father used to take me to plant trees, and today that area is a green forest.
Jamuna is one of hundreds of millions who relies on the country's forests for their livelihood. At 18, she married and left her home to live in the next door state of Jharkhand. It should have been an easy adjustment, but her new community lived a different way of life.
In 1998, I got married and came to my in-laws' house. Here, I saw that there was a forest near the village, but it was desolate. Then within a few days, I started going to the forest with other women of the village so that we could cut wood and can use it for household work. I used to feel sad doing this because I used to plant trees with my parents, and now here I am cutting trees.
Jamuna didn't understand why no one was interested in protecting the forest. But one day, he was told a story that explained why.
The mafia had cut a lot of forest one day. My father-in-law and other villagers went to get woods from the forest for the house, but they were blamed for cutting down the trees and put in prison. After this, a doubt arose among the people of the village, and they considered that it's better to leave jungle as the property of the government, and also took no interest in protecting it.
The so-called jungle mafia had been operating in Jharkhand for decades, as reported in the media.
Villagers in Orissa got together to save their forests from the timber mafia.
The state stretches nearly 80,000 square kilometres, and forests account for about 30% of that. All those trees were very profitable for the mafia, but Jamuna was about to change things.
I slowly started telling the women of the village that the forest should be saved and not cut. It's okay that we do not have fuel and that we have to use wood. But to save the forest, we need to plant new trees. Some women liked and understood what I said. But it takes time for everybody to understand a good thing.
As the years went on, Jamuna won over the villagers. And when they saw that her efforts were attracting investment from the state's Forest Conservation Fund, people really started getting involved. She even managed to convince village housewives to pick up weapons and scare off illegal loggers.
When we used to go out on patrol, we used to go far into the forest. The view of the forest is worth seeing. It's very beautiful. When we used to get tired in the forest, we used to sit under the trees. There we used to forget all the problems at home and just sing songs and discuss our household as well. Our heart felt very happy. We forget everything under the trees. And that's a very happy moment for us. Sitting under the tree is a bliss. You find all kind of beautiful animals there, but we also had to carry a bow and an arrow, dagger, a stick, dogs for our safety, as danger can also be found in the jungle. We would confront the mafia in the forest many times. They would threaten us and said, "This is our forest, and if you create obstacles to our work, it will not be good for you."
That threat wasn't enough to stop Jamuna.
When I got the assurance that now the people of my village can protect the forest, I started going to the nearby villages and talked to the head there and told them about the forest protection committee that I had started. Over the years, I formed hundreds of forest protection committees.
Word of Jamuna's conservation efforts and run-ins with the mafia was spreading across India. The media dubbed her Lady Tarzan.
झारखंड की लेडी टार्जन जमुना टुडू का
पद्मश्री जमुना टुडू जो कि 1900
जमुना टुडू ने झारखंड के नक्सल प्रभावित इलाकों में जंगल की अवैध कटाई पर
This newfound fame meant she became a target.
When the forest mafia came to know that a woman named Jamuna was working for forest conservation, forming committee and awakening the people of the village, they started threatening me. Men broke into my house and tied up my husband. I complained to the police and within a few days, they all were arrested.
Lady Tarzan wasn't to be messed with. Her reputation meant the authorities took what she said seriously, and it didn't stop there. Angry about her home being looted, she decided to hit the mafia where it hurt.
I came to know that the wood logs were being sent by train from the village railway station. We went there and I told the ticket counter that there are some people who are sending tree logs and this railway station is being used. I told them then those trees and plants are alive and you will have to bear the consequences. After a few days, no movement was seen in the train. But after some time, again, logs were being sent, so I wrote a letter to the station master.
For years, wood from India's eastern forests were transported across the country to its expanding cities. To do this, they relied on the country's huge rail network to send the illegally chopped timber. One by one, the mafia were losing their vital transportation network. One evening, when Jamuna was on her way to another train station to convince them to crack down on the practice, she almost had a deadly encounter.
Some mafia guys saw me and threw stones off the railway tracks and attacked me. My husband was badly hurt, and so were the women who were with us. I still have the scars to this day. Two men who saw all this ran towards me and my husband and carried us into a room. During this time, the news reached the village and villagers came and took us to the village doctor. I could not file a complaint in this case because it was dark and I could not see the faces of those people. In any case, this stone pelting happened on the order of the mafia.
The attack didn't stop her in her mission to protect India's forests. She continued her fight, and now there are thousands of committee members in hundreds of villages. Jamuna has won several awards for her conservation efforts, including the Padma Shri Award. Even Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, said how impressed he was with Jamuna's work during an all-India radio broadcast in 2019.
झारखंड में लेडी टार्जन के नाम से विख्यात जमुना टुडू ने timber mafia और नक्सलियों
He's saying Jamuna did a courageous job taking on the timber mafia and inspired thousands of women. He also said that because of her hard work, villagers now plant 18 trees when a girl is born and 10 more when they get married.
Trees and God give me the strength and courage to continue. And I know God is happy with my work. Not only women, but even men are inspired by my work. Seeing all this, I feel happy. My efforts have made a difference to the mafia, but it has not been eradicated. I'm sure that soon it will be eradicated not only in Jharkhand, but in the entire India.
Jamuna Tudu was speaking to George Craver and remembering the dangers that followed her in her determination to protect India's natural forests. And on our website, we have a curated collection of stories from the past involving environmental campaigners. To find them, go to bbcworldservice.com/witness history and then look for the collections page. We'll have more from the History Hour in just a moment.
This is the BBC World Service, where we're investigating some shocking allegations.
TB Joshua was a charismatic religious figure.
Meeting TB Joshua for the first time, you will think you have met God's representative.
His videos of miracle cures and faith healing wowed church-going audiences around the globe.
That was his hook. It's what hooked me. I was stepping into those videos.
Maybe this is the real deal.
But followers claim that he was not the man of God he portrayed himself to be.
To be a disciple of TB Joshua is to live not a human life.
And after joining his church in Nigeria, they were subjected to a terrifying system of control, manipulation, and abuse.
We all thought we were in heaven, but we were in hell, and in hell, terrible things happen.
Let's tell this story.
World of Secrets, The Disciples. Listen to the whole series now at bbcworldservice.com/World of Secrets or wherever you get your BBC podcasts.
Coming up in part 2 of the History Hour, millions of Iranians protest against what they say was a rigged election. Thus, why a king sent his subjects to confront an army in the Spanish Sahara? And what happened when a president went on hunger strike?
He made a point of having the press around him to see that he was not eating. All he did was drink his water, and he had a lot of dialogues with people trying to make his point.
That's after we get a summary of the latest world news.
BBC News with Emily Thomas. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi says the opening of a Hindu temple in the northern city of Ayodhya heralds a new era for the country. He was speaking after inaugurating the temple that was built on the ruins of a 16th century mosque whose destruction by a mob in 1992 sparked deadly religious riots. Cameroon has begun the rollout of the world's first routine vaccine programme against malaria. The WHO has hailed it as a historic moment in the global fight against the mosquito-borne disease. At least 8 people have been killed in China after a landslide destroyed houses in Yunnan province. Search and rescue efforts are continuing. As Israeli forces continue to bombard Gaza, the territory's health ministry says that 190 Palestinians have been killed in the past 24 hours. Residents of the southern city of Khan Yunis say that tanks have surrounded a hospital and university. The Russian-installed authorities in the occupied Ukrainian city of Donetsk say 130,000 people are without power after reports of Ukrainian drone attacks on electricity substations. Donetsk is holding a day of mourning for 27 people killed when a market was shelled on Sunday. Leaders from the Western Balkans are meeting in North Macedonia to discuss a European Union plan that aims to bring them closer to membership of the bloc. The EU is offering a potential $6.5 billion investment package, which is conditional on countries undertaking reforms. Australia has axed its so-called golden visa, which granted wealthy overseas investors the right to live in the country. Designed to attract foreign business, it was cut as part of an immigration overhaul by the government. A court in Vietnam has sentenced 9 people to death for drug trafficking. Local media say they were found guilty of trafficking methamphetamine, heroin and other synthetic drugs from Laos to Vietnam between 2021 and their arrests in 2022. BBC News.
Welcome back to part 2 of the History Hour with Max Pearson.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse. Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature online.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Prom, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Prom Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Hey, Charlie. You're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy. You stressed out. Tired? Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy. JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenated, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour Show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour Show is your best source into the property industry.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse. Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
The best radio show. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
Radio UK. Are you ready to turn it up? Live online.
Body is your ma. Bekutu, show them you got the cocoa set. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Harrison, aka Mr. Songs. This is the Kingmaker Baba for the girls. We're here. This is Starr Radio. Don't go nowhere. UK, London. We they call them London for home. For here, we they call them London. And I sabi you know, just have fun and stay blessed.
Hi there, this is CJ Buckman, your life coach. And whenever I'm in London, I listen to Starr Radio UK right here. But guess what? You can listen to wherever you are.
In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Smile, though your heart is aching. Smile, even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile. If you just smile.
Hey, this is Archie, and you are listening to Star Radio UK and the Morning Show. And the Morning Show.
This is Starr Radio. This is UK. Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
Welcome.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio. Starr Radio. Radio for the people, by the people.
Love for you runs deep. All of you makes my heart beat.
Welcome.
You make a doubt they fade. Jesus, and that's what makes you great. You hold the world.
Okay, let me say massive good morning, good afternoon. Okay, let me say massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to each and every one of you wherever you might be this morning, and welcome you to the Starr Radio UK Morning Show. Today is the 22nd day of January, the year 2024, and the time now is exactly 10:47. Once again, welcome to the Morning Show. From now till 12:30, when I'm going to be here with you, looking at everything from archaeology to zoology, from Accra to Zanzibar. I want you to continue to be with me. Don't touch the dial, but share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages as well.
That's why forever call you great.
For those of you who don't know, I remain yours sincerely, the one and only.
This is the morning
with Archie.
To be praised.
And let me take this opportunity to say good morning to my able producer, Mr. Francis Dai, to my colleague and co-presenter, Mr. Lani Poetry, working behind the scenes. Yes, pretty soon you'll be seeing him. Don't you worry at all. Don't you worry at all. And then a special good morning and to Bishop Adesin, Anthony Adelegi, Aziz, Pastor Momo, Pastor Emmanuel Chidi, Rachel, good morning to you. Shamsule, massive good morning. Olakunle, good morning to you. Felix all the way in Aberdeen, massive good morning. Kojodi, good morning. Pastor Michael Siama, Reverend Michael Siama, Reverend Tete, or Captain Tete as we call him. Wherever you are, massive good morning to you all. So welcome to the program once again. From now till 12:30. What's going to happen? I'm going to bring you the code for the day, the weather forecast will follow suit, then the travel update from there. We'll look at some of the stories speaking around across the globe, which is not as the globe, across the globe. And after that, we'll continue to look at some of the details of the stories making the rounds across the globe. We're looking at Nigeria, we're looking at Ghana, we're looking at other parts of Africa, the US, other parts, Middle East, and across the globe, of course, landing here in the UK. We bring you Career 101 with HRH Linda Pallien. At 12:30, the pages are brought down for the end of the program. So in a case, that's what's going to happen. But wherever you are, share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones, anybody to like our pages. Once again, welcome to the show. And also good morning to Mr. Frank Davis as well, all the way in Ghana. And to the families there, wherever you are, I salute each and every one of you.
All of you makes my heart beat. You make a doubt they fade. Jesus, and that's what makes you great. You hold the world in your hands.
Well, when it comes to the for the day says, as you navigate through life, listen and be responsive to the world around you. And that is also so true. How do you react to things around you? Most of us don't do so. Never find ourselves languishing in problems and get to a place where we are ill prepared for everything that is going on around us. Open your eyes. Like the good book says, the sons of Issachar, they knew the times. They knew when to strike, when to do things. So be aware of what is happening around you. I don't mean to say let that control you, no. But once you are aware of it, you are able to circumnavigate. Yeah. Okay, so now let's move on straight to the weather front as well. Yesterday's weather, oh boy. The strong winds. How did it? Find out in your area if you are in the UK. So this afternoon will be generally dry with a bright spells and a few patches of cloud. However, the odd blustery shower is likely to move in from the west at times. A windy and blustery day is better as well. This evening we'll see a mix of patchy clouds, clear intervals, the odd lingering showers turning dry and likely clear overnight, but some light cloud moving in from the west by north. Winds will be easy. Temperature is going to be 11 degrees, the lowest will be 5 degrees. UV level, low pollution, low sunset, 1622, and sunrise for tomorrow morning, 0753 hours. That brings us to the end of the weather forecast. But keep your eyes on the roads, keep your eyes on the roads. As we keep it navigated, travel updates coming your way next. That's on Starr Radio UK. So on the underground this morning, the Central line has got bus suspension and minor delays. Elizabeth line bus suspension and severe delays. Metropolitan line has got minor delays. That aside, all the other underground lines are running a good service. London Overground has also got fast suspension. And here London Overground are running a good service. Now, to the major roads in London, I can tell you as well, there's no exceptional delays there. You can zip through it like no man's business. Now, when it comes to the riverbank this morning as well, good service throughout. The London cable car is also running a good service. After all, the winds have eased a bit, right? But that takes us straight to the final segment of the travel update. That is the National Rail. Now I can tell you that there are lots of special services, no services and others. But let me bring you the ones that are running a good service that you can find your way from there. Now C2C, Chiltern Railways, Greater Anglia, Heathrow Express, Island Line, Merseyrail, West Midlands trains are all running a good service. That is all the numerous ones have got either special or minor or no services at all. On that note, as I will say all the time, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your comment for today, but you know what? Continue to live life well on the road.
Great are you, Lord. Greatly to be praised. Great are you, Lord. Great are you, Lord.
This is good resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you Dear Nova Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy, Dear Nova Spa, they provide organic care and massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenated, etc.? For your facial, maybe exfoliating, then contact Dear Spa on 00233244941 002 or 00233200606 and they will be right there on time. And Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep. Welcome back to the program Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station. In London, it's now time 5 minutes to the top of the hour, and it's time for Global Trotting. So let's go look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe. Starting from where? Yes, India Prime Minister opens Grand Temple on Razed Mosque site. Interesting. The ritual were led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, while opposition leaders and some Hindu seers stayed away. Now, Ron DeSantis has quit as the presidential race embarks Trump. The Florida governor ends his bid for the Republican nomination and endorses Donald Trump ahead of New Hampshire's vote. Is that doing that in the bid for him to be maybe chosen as the what do you call it? A running mate for Donald Trump? Is that what they want to do? You know, running mates, you know, they are like lame dogs. They don't do much, you know. They just sit there. I remember, was it president? One of them, I've forgotten who. Whether the deputy of Nixon, the vice president during Nixon's time. I don't know what it was. It President Ford? One of them. Yes, they said at a point they made him. He was becoming a thorn in the flesh, so they gave him the position as a vice president. And then they said, well, you give him that, there won't be much that he'll be doing. So he is silenced and he's there. So maybe Trump will want to put DeSantis as his deputy or his vice, and then keep him silenced there. Maybe when Trump is served that term, because he cannot do a rerun. Then he will have the opportunity to run or fly the flag of the Republicans and then maybe win that thing. So maybe that's a good ploy. His advisors might have told him that that is the best way to win the hearts of the Americans. But the question is, should Trump still be allowed to run, especially when he says, you know what? All these plans or program to way that we select people, or the system that selects people to be our leaders is not something that I need to or they need to. So he thinks that is something that they need to stop. But what do you think about that? He doesn't believe it. So why should he even be allowed to run for the presidency? And then should it happen that he wins and then the Democrats decide, you know what, we think that we have been susuponed. Do you think they can bring a charge against them for maybe behaving that way? Or what do you think? But whatever it is, we'll tell you more about that. Now, 8 dead and dozens missing in China landslide rescue efforts are underway in sub-zero temperatures in the remote province of Yunnan, and Navy SEALs presumed dead after anti-Houthi mission. The commandos were part of an operation to seize Iranian-made missile parts bound for Yemen. Well, so we'll be telling you more about that as well. And Japan hopes sunlight can save stricken moon lander. The slim spacecraft was switched off after failing to generate power, but the sun may now revive it. So let's see. So we have to pray for the sun. Sun, come on, rise up on the moon lander. Now, Australia access golden visa scheme for mega rich. Now, critics say the scheme, which granted visa to wealthy investors, was attracting illicit funds. In another story as well, more than 90 dead after fierce U.S. winter storms. At least 25 weather-related deaths have been reported in Tennessee, with another 16 in Oregon. Well, the weather. When it comes to the UK front, Storm Isha batters UK with strong winds and rain. Thousands of people have spent the night without power, and travel disruption is set to continue. Crumbling school hit by leaks and cold. Teachers tell Panorama that some buildings in urgent need of repair are not fit for purpose. Now, medics told not to report illegal abortions to police. The Royal College of Gynecologists and Obstetricians says women are being wrongly prosecuted. And then Chief Whip issues warning to rebel Tory MPs. The government wants to send a message to its MPs, but is it strong enough to assert its authority? It's going to do like the Bojo style, where they were stringent measures trying to put it there and try to get them, whip the people in line, or you are shown the door. Is that what is going to happen there? Now, airport scanner delay will prolong 100 mil liquid ban. Some UK airports will not have all the technology in place by the 1st of June to do away with the carry-on limit. And high rates of bad behavior found among pandemic dogs. Okay, so all the pandemic dogs most of them have got bad behavior, right? Interesting. When it comes to Nigeria as well, Lagos government bans usage of styrofoams, single-use plastic, with immediate effect. An Arewa forum opposes relocation of federal agencies to Lagos, alleges bias against the North. Interesting. Is it because the president hails from the South and is bringing that there? They think that, well, so we'll be telling you more about that. And fire guards 10-story Madilas building in Lagos, and Senate will invite Wike over Abuja insecurity. King Gibe says, and NAF, the Nigeria Air Force, airstrikes neutralize notorious kidnapper Janari gang members in Kaduna. And Nigeria targets transshipment hub status in Lekki Seaport, berths largest container vessel on Nigeria waters. And NDLEA arrests owner of drug consignment that caused airport fracas in a viral video. And claim of Buhari's clone Jibril of Sudan ridiculous, ex-president's aide said Adesina. Now Tinubu calls for review of global tax system, affirms commitment to multilateralism, and the 21 Nigerians sue Akpabio Abbas for arbitrarily increasing mass budget. Well, let's see what comes out of that. I'll be bringing you details of that in a moment, but wherever you are, don't touch that. Cameroon starts first malaria vaccine program for children. The campaign due to start on Monday was described by officials as milestone in the decades-long effort to curb mosquito spread disease. Well, it's one of those that they will say, oh, you know what? They're going to give that to us, and they'll introduce some virus or something into our system, and it's going to be killing us, or it's going to make us moo or whatever thing that they want to say. Now, Felix Tshisekedi is sworn in for second term amid disputed election, despite legal challenges and the dismissal of a petition. The opposition figures have called for nationwide protests to contest the election. And Namibia President Gene Gob to undergo treatment after cancerous cells found. And Blinken's latest diplomatic trip will take him to Africa. What can Africa do? Or is it going to South Africa? I'm going to tell you more about that. Burkina Faso, a fresh coup attempt thwarted. Authorities are saying how the prominent Nigerian televangelist TB Joseph died as well. Some of the stories making the round. Egyptian's president says will protect Somalia against ANZ. So these are some of the stories making the rounds on the African continent as well, but coming straight on to Ghana as well. The AFCON, Chris Hilton, optimistic Majid Ashmeru will be ready for Mozambique game. Well, interestingly, if they lose the match or if they don't win convincingly, I mean, they might crash out and come home today from La Côte d'Ivoire. I think that one, they can even walk, can't they? Okay, and other stories as well. Suspended plan 20% fare increases GPRTU to drivers as it meets transport ministry. And then in Boko, Alan Shermantin admonishes military to act professionally. In some other stories making the rounds this morning as well, I've always been a journalist, not a politician, Gabi Ochidako is saying. What kind of journalist has he been? Well, he said he's always been. So let's see. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. All right, now at 5 minutes past the top of the hour at the time, the morning show, the program, Starr Radio UK, the station, wherever you are, don't touch the dial. Now, let's go take a musical break. And once we come back, we'll be looking at some of the stories. That is the details of the stories making the rounds this morning. And this round is from who? You know him. I'll be playing his song every time. Kofi Boham. Kofi, I'm the one playing most of your songs, right? And it says, names of togatives. Enjoy it and I'll be with you.
Yeah. It's like my favorite song on this album, y'all. It's no secret in our world. People like to talk.
All around the world. In your car,
At work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
And rumors just to be known. So why are you wasting your time like this? Hearing those things that break your heart. Give no attention, give no thoughts. Cause people talk, but they'll never help you walk. So whenever they speak, look up and you will see a broken pencil and a sheet. And tell them, I'm writing names of talkatives. Yeah.
all of this noise you're making on me. Teacher will get you when he comes. I have a race.
No time to waste.
No time to waste.
I'm writing names of talkatives.
I'm writing names of talkatives.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
all of
9.
this noise you're making on me.
Teacher, let them when he comes.
Teacher will catch you when he comes. I have a race.
No time to waste.
No time to waste.
There are many voices in this life, and to be honest, many are not nice. So don't hear something and pick a knife, cause most of these things are nothing but lies. Teacher said be careful how you hear, cause there are talkatives here. They're everywhere. So silence the voices in your head and give no attention to your fears. I'm writing
names of talkatives.
Da, 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 da.
All of this noise you're making on me. Teacher will get you when he comes.
As for me,
I have a race.
no time to waste.
No time to waste.
I'm writing names of
I'm
talkatives.
writing names of
1,
talkatives.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
All of this noise you're making on me.
14, 15, 16, 17, 18,
Teacher
19,
will
20.
get you when he comes. I have a race. No time to waste.
Can we talk? Can we talk? Call them, say
Talkatives.
do you know any?
Talkatives.
Have you met any?
Talkatives.
Can we write some?
Talkatives.
List some names of talkatives. I am going now.
Talkatives.
Some friends are.
Talkatives.
Some family
Well, write the names of talkatives by Kofi Bonham.
Some landlords are.
This is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Your exes
Now
are.
10 minutes past the top of the hour,
Have you known any?
and this is the Monday edition of the morning show.
Opinions are.
So wherever you are, don't touch the dial. Even have to cross over to bring you all that you need to know. Take it around from Nigeria this morning. Once again, welcome.
You are listening to Star Radio Morning Show.
Okay, so now let's crack on. What have I got for you? or let me say it this way, what has my colleague and co-presenter Mr. Laimi Koiki sent my way to be shared with you. Okay, he's been caught up in some behind the scenes work, so that's why it's not live, but I promise you that it's going to be live where pretty soon, so just bear with us. But you can share with us whatever is going on in your area, if you're in Nigeria or any other part of the world. You want to share with us what is happening there, and I promise you one thing for sure, that I'm gonna be bringing that your way. All right then, so just bear with me whilst I get myself ready to fire on all cylinders. Okay, so the first story talks about Lagos banning usage of styrofoams, single-use plastics with immediate effect. Now you know that the containers that we use when we go to get the fast foods. Well, in order to arrest the menace caused to the environment, the Lagos state government on Sunday announced a ban on the usage and distribution of styrofoam and other single-use plastic in the state with immediate effect. Then this was announced by the Commissioner for the Environment and Water Resources, Tokumbo Wahab, in a statement he personally signed. Now, besides Wahab, also directed the State Waste Management Authority and the Kick Against Indiscipline to immediately commence the implementation of the ban. Now, he asked two agencies to clamp down on all the production companies and distribution outlets for styrofoam in the state to prevent further distribution. According to Wahab, the decision was reached following the menace that single-use plastics, especially non-biodegradable styrofoams, were causing to the environment. He added that most drainage channels in the state are daily clogged up by styrofoams through its indiscriminate distribution and usage, despite the regular cleaning and evacuation of the drains in huge amounts. He reiterated that the larger chunk of littering across major roads and markets that Lauma contends with daily is made up of styrofoams. Now, the commissioner added that the state government cannot fold its hands and watch the continued desecration of its environment, especially in a coastal city. Now, Wahab explained that the state took the present action relying on several enabling laws and regulations, such as National Environmental Regulation 2009, and which established a pursuant to the Nesria Act and prohibited and especially banned single-use plastics in the country, but has not been enforced. Now, other laws, according to Wahab, include 2017 State Environmental Management and Protection Law. Now, which says under Section 56, subsection 1 and I, subsection Y, prevents, stop, or discontinue any activity or omission that is likely to cause harm or has caused harm to human health or the environment. The commissioner advised producers, distributors, and end users of the styrofoam packs to take the ban seriously and find alternatives or risk heavy fines and other penalties, including selling their premises. Boy, now you wondered they could also be made to bear the cost of the daily cleanup of their products from our roads and drainage channels, which runs into the tens of millions of naira daily. Now, I'll say it cannot be held hostage to the economic interests of a few wealthy business owners compared to the millions of Lagosians suffering the consequences of indiscriminate dumping of single-use plastics and other types of waste, he stated. According to Wahab, the well-known consequences include climate change, flooding, and disease like cholera. He advised consumers and residents to boycott styrofoam packs and single-use plastics while imbibing the practice of using reusable food containers and water bottles for their food and drinks. The convenience of single-use plastic comes as a huge cost to society. We must all make small sacrifices to our collective well-being, Wahab pleaded. Now the question is, were these business owners informed about the implementation, or they just sat in their office and decided, you know what, we see this menace and we've seen it time and time and over again, and therefore we think that today we are cracking on? Or did they have a meeting with them and say, look, come the 22nd day, I'm going to say 12th day, 22nd day of January, we're going to bring a clamp down on. There's going to be a clamp down on using single-use plastic bags or styrofoams. Was there any consultation of the sort done? That's the question. Or like we just behave as if we are living in a banana republic or a banana state. Well, in other stories, Arawa Forum have opposed relocation of federal agencies to Lagos, and they are alleging bias against the North. The Arawa Consultative Forum has expressed its disapproval, President Bola Tinubu's approval for the relocation of headquarters of the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria and some department of the Central Bank of Nigeria from Abuja to Lagos. The ACF, through its National Publicity Secretary, Professor Mohammed Baba, describes the move as deliberate plot against the northern region. According to the ACF, the decision to relocate certain federal government agencies from Abuja to Lagos is perceived as part of a disturbing pattern of actions taken against the interests of the North and other parts of the country. The forum raised concerns about the potential negative impact on Northerners and characterized the decision as an antagonistic move. Now, it goes on further to say the ACF, that is Arawa Consultative Forum, cited a viral letter from a contractor of Starr requesting the relocation of the project for refurbishment of airport, rescue and firefighting vehicles from Katsina to Lagos as an example of deliberate attempt to shortchange the northern region by the federal government agencies. Now, while FAN stated that the relocation followed comprehensive consultation with stakeholders, including unions, the ACF called on President Bola Tinubu's government and the National Assembly to intervene, urging the agencies to reconsider their decisions and explore alternative means of addressing the alleged overcrowding in offices. Now, the forum also warned against relocating the ARFF project from Katsina to Lagos, emphasizing that Katsina was the designated location for the project based on the original scope of work. Well, based on that, but current situation is such that it will be better for it to be moved to the Lagos state. But they're saying, no way, Mose, because why? They think it is actually being biased to the North and the North being marginalized. So how does that feel when it comes to other parts of the country where people are thinking that, well, they've done that, they've moved that there, they've done this there, they've done that, and we think that we are being marginalized. Now, are they now waking up to that fact? Or in actual fact, are they being marginalized there? Listeners, this is all Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, so they're on the that part, and they are fighting all round to get that as well. Well, interestingly, if you think Buhari, because he's a Muslim, so he doesn't say Jesus, well, Femi Adesina says that, well, the former special advisor to the ex-president Muhammadu Buhari on media and publicity has shared the moment from their time when, let me bring you that, quite an interesting one. Femi Adesina, former advisor to the ex-president Muhammadu Buhari on media and publicity, has shared a moment from his time in the presidency, narrating how President Buhari reacted when Vice President Yemi Osinbajo survived a helicopter crash in February 2019. Adesina, in his book titled "Working with Buhari," reflecting of a special advisor, media and publicity, recounted that Buhari, then perceived as a bigot by some, exhibited a different side during the incident. According to Adesina, Buhari, far from being a bigot, displayed a light-hearted and humorous response when discussing the helicopter crash with Osinbajo. The former president's spokesperson wrote that when congratulating Osinbajo on surviving the crash, Buhari jocularly said, "I can imagine that when the chopper crashed with the bank, Vice President, as a pastor, must have shouted, 'Jesus, Jesus.' And fortunately, Jesus was not far away, so he saved him." Now, Adesina also highlighted instances where Buhari allowed Christians in the government to take time off during Easter and Christmas. But as a country, don't they take Easter and Christmas holidays? Is it not something that is done? Or is it because he was a Muslim as a leader, so the country automatically became an Islamic state? That's quite interesting, isn't it? Well, listeners, this all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. In another story, making the local government chairman, Kwere local government area of the River State, somewhere in Wano CK, has slammed Governor Siminalayi Fubara, describing him as a foolish governor and naive. Now, I know CK is a loyalist former Governor Nyesom Wike. The rift between Fubara and Wike, who now serves as the Minister of the Federal Capital, escalated in 2023 due to power struggle for the supremacy within the state. The local government chairman made a remark while addressing his supporters at the Omerulo community. He later posted the viral video on his official X handle. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. In other stories making around, fire has got a 10-story Madilas building in Lagos. The question is, how prepared are the fire brigade for such occurrences in the state? Fire on Sunday gutted the popular 10-story Madilas building located on Broad Street, Lagos Island, destroying properties worth several millions of naira. According to an eyewitness, the incident occurred at about 1:15 p.m. when traders were not open for business. Now, Margaret Adeseye, director of Lagos State Fire and Rescue Services, who confirmed the incident, said there was no record of any casualties in the incident. The fire, it was gathered, started from a warehouse on the first floor of the building before spreading to other floors. Men of the State Fire and Rescue Services, Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASMA, police and other emergency responders raced to the scene to put out the raging fire. At the press time, the cause of the inferno was yet to be ascertained as rescue operations were ongoing. Affected traders who later stormed the scene were seen salvaging some of their wares and other valuable items possible. Listeners, this all coming away from Starr Radio UK, 11:24 the time, the morning show, the program. Senator Ireti King-Gigbe, representing the Federal Capital Territory, has said the Senate will invite Minister of the Federal Capital Nyesom Wike to address the growing level of insecurity in Abuja. She informed the Senate will summon Wike and the head of security agencies to testify over the rising crimes in the nation's capital during an appearance on a TV program yesterday. The senator said, "When the Senate resumes, I plan the Senate committee, the FCT committee specifically, needs to sit with the two ministers and the security agencies for them to give us their plans concerning security. It is not that I am hoping. I know he will be summoned, but whether he responds or not is a different matter entirely. But as the chief security officer of the FCT, he should have a plan. What plan has he got? Listeners, this is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. Yesum Wike. The Nigerian Air Force airstrikes operation undertaken by the air component of the operations Well Punch have neutralized a notorious terrorist and kidnap kingpin popularly known as Janari and several members of its syndicate who have been terrorizing the people of Kaduna State. A statement by the Director of Public Relations and Information of the Service, Air Vice Marshal Edward Gabquet, has said Janari and his cohorts have been responsible for several attacks and abductions within Kaduna State as well as along the Abuja-Kaduna highway. Gabquet said the strikes conducted on Thursday, January 18, were authorized after Janari and his gang were sighted at a location near Gada Katako in Igabi local government area of Kaduna State. A further exploitation revealed that they were massing up a likely attack on kidnapping of vulnerable civilians, hence the need to immediately attack the location. Intelligence received after the strike revealed that Janari was indeed eliminated alongside several of other terrorists or kidnappers. He said, adding that the similar airstrikes were also carried out on Saturday on confirmed terrorists and kidnappers hideouts near Chukuba in the Niger State with various degrees of successes. A feedback of the strikes after was also positive, as it confirmed that the targets were neutralized and their mobility destroyed, Gabquet said. Well, if that is quelling whatever is going on and that can help citizens in their quest to live a peaceable life, why not? Why not? One other story, and then we bring the updates from Nigeria to a close from there. Now, President Bola Tinubu has advocated a review of global taxation, explaining that redressing the imbalance in the international tax regime has become imperative. A statement by the Director of Information Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning, Folashade Borewo, said President Tinubu made a call in a speech at the third South Summit of the Group of 77 and China, which opened on Sunday in Kampala, Uganda. He affirmed Nigeria's belief in a commitment towards multilateralism in a way of addressing global challenges, adding that the issue of global taxation is pressing because it impacts developing countries. Listeners, this is Starr Radio UK. This is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. And this is where I bring the updates to a close from Nigeria. Well, apart from bringing you one that says in Nigeria, 21 Nigerians sue Akpabio Abbas for arbitrarily increasing the NAS budget. Says that, well, the Mr. Akpabio and Abbas are sued for themselves and on behalf of all members of the National Assembly. It said 20 concerned Nigerians have filed a lawsuit against the Senate President Godwill Akpabio and Speaker of the House of Representatives Tajudeen Abbas for unilaterally and arbitrarily increasing the allocation for lawmakers from 197 billion naira to 344 billion, the highest since the return of democracy in 1999. Mr. Akpabio and Mr. Abbas are sued for themselves and on behalf of all members of the National Assembly. Well. What are they going to do? They have to justify why. And they will tell you that, look at inflation. So did they increase it according to as per inflation, or what do you think? Listeners, this is Starr Radio UK. Let's take another break, and once we come back, I'll be bringing you everything that you got to know when it comes to other parts of Africa as well. Stay tuned. Don't go away.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Yo, what's up, people? This is a boy Raskin Bobo One. Tune in every day, every night at the Starr Radio UK with the big man them Archie. When I say order, you say fire.
Welcome back to the program, Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now to exactly 11:35 from the hearts of London, and it is the morning show. I'm Archie. We've got another 25 minutes to bring the first part of the program to a close, and then I'll take you to Cyprus, where we have our own HRH, Linda Pallien, who is going to be bringing you Career 101. So just bear with us whilst we continue on that front. Okay, let me say good morning to Pastor Joyce Lawson. Okay. She's doing a good work and she's asking me some questions there, but I think I've given her a good answer there. But Pastor Joyce, if you're not satisfied, get in touch with me later. Listen to Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, when it comes to other stories making the rounds on the African continent as well, now Cameroon has also done what? Introduce malaria vaccine in their communities. This is a vaccine. The campaign is due to start today. It is described by officials as a milestone in the decades-long efforts in dealing with the malaria menace. So, as I did say, don't you? What do you think about it? Because there are people who are of the view that, well, once again, it's the West introducing something, or developed countries introducing something into our system, and always within that they've got some ulterior motives pertaining to that. But we've got our scientists. Can they actually check those things, or are they not well equipped to do those things to see whether there are some the side effects outweighs its usefulness? Do our scientists even do anything of the sort? Well, listen to Starr Radio UK. In other stories making the rounds as well, Felix Tshisekedi has been sworn in for the second term amid disputed election result. But despite legal challenges and the dismissal of a petition, the opposition figure have called for nationwide protests to contest the election results and demand a rerun. The government, in response, has warned of cracking down on these protests. The Democratic Republic of Congo incumbent leader Felix Tshisekedi has been sworn in for a second term as president in a ceremony held at the Strait de Matthias in Kinshasa. The event drew thousands of Congolese citizens and saw the presence of several African heads of state and foreign envoys. Now, during his inaugural speech, President Tshisekedi pledged to unite the country and put an end to the armed conflict that have displaced millions in eastern DRC. The 60-year-old leader, who secured victory with 73% of the votes, according to the Electoral Commission, promised to build a strong, united, and prosperous nation during his second term. Now, the question is, what has he done so far during his first term? Was he preparing the ground to be able to take off? And has he done that now? Or what do you think there? Listeners, this is All Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, we have the Namibian president, Haji Geingob, who will start treatment for cancer after routine medical checkups and a follow-up biopsy led to the detection of cancerous cells. His office has said. The Namibian president said the 82-year-old has a colonoscopy and a gastroscopy on January 8th, followed by a biopsy. On the advice of the medical team, President Geingob will undertake appropriate medical treatment to deal with the cancerous cells, his office added. Now, Geingob, who had been president of the Southern African nation since 2015, is due to continue to carry out presidential duties alongside the cabinet, of which he is the chairperson. In June 2023, he underwent an aortic operation, he revealed in 2014 when he was still Prime Minister that he survived a prostate cancer. Presidential and National Assembly elections are scheduled for the end of this year. It is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, the Secretary of State the Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, is planning to visit 4 African countries as the Biden administration tries to keep its eyes on corners of the world while being consumed by crisis in Ukraine and the Middle East and the Red Sea. The State Department announced on Thursday that Blinken will go to Cape Verde, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, and Angola starting from Sunday for talks focused on regional security, conflict prevention, democracy promotion, and trade. Nigeria's West African regional heavyweight and plays a major role in security issues, especially those involving Islamic extremists, violence in the Sahel, the vast and expands south of Sahara Desert. Well, let's see what comes out of that visit, but it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, straight on to Ghana as well. Information Minister of Kojo Oppong Nkrumah has entreated media organizations in Ghana to consider entering into mergers and acquisitions to be able to survive the economic turbulence in the industry. Now, Mr. Oppong Nkrumah said the saturation of media outlets in Ghana had affected the profitability of media houses and that the best way out of the situation was for mergers and acquisitions to be adopted to make the media entities economically viable. In a quote, he said, "I am of the view that the current expansive network of media houses is good for our democracy, but on the flip side, a lot of media owners are complaining that it is not economically viable. Therefore, we think that there is the need to consider mergers and acquisitions to cut costs of operation and maximize revenue for sustainability," he said. He emphasized that mergers and acquisition will ensure the media operators, including journalists, producers, and photographers, were paid better. We are all in this industry and we know how journalists are paid, Mr. Oppong Nkrumah said. The minister made the call in Accra last Wednesday during the launch of a report by the Center for Democratic Development, the CDD Ghana, and Accountability in Media Governance and Internet. The report showed that there has been saturation of media outlets in the country, with over 200 television outlets and more than 700 radio stations. Oh boy. It indicated that although the expansive media outlets could be seen as a sign of a liberalized media environment, their ownerships was such that they were concentrated in the hands of politicians, business people, and religious groups. It also found that media houses in the hands of those groups of people are largely responsible for fake news, misinformation, and other excesses in the system. The saturated media landscape has also been identified as responsible for the low profitability of media houses and the poor remuneration for media staff. It's quite an interesting one. But who would you want to merge with, or who would you don't mind who will be taking over your business? You got it? It's quite an interesting one, isn't it? But well, it's all Starr Radio UK coming your way. In another story making the round, the district pastor for the Presbyterian Church at Goso in Ahafo region has called on the media to take a stand against politicians who encourage violence during elections. Now, Reverend Paul Dro Safo believes violence has no place in our democratic process and that the media has a responsibility to find a way to report on what those politicians say in a way that doesn't incite violence or promote divisions. The clergyman argued that without the media, politicians will be able to say what they want without the knowledge of the public. So, what do you think is the way forward for them? Now, a moment ago, I did talk about a story where it's coming out of the media houses and the fact that, well, some have to go into some sort of arrangement or measure or take over, whatever is a term that is appropriate, so that it will help them, enhance their revenue intake. However, it's been said that, well, politicians are using that same platform, and the thing is, if politicians come and know that when he is allowed to use that platform and you can spew all that venom, and that will get him to get some money, why don't you think that he's going to do that? He's going to adhere to it. It's going to do that. But it's quite interesting there. What do you think? They are hungry. Maybe a measure will do them good. But it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. It's now gone 13 minutes to 12. Up to 13 minutes to the end of the first part of the program. And let's come to other parts of the world. Let's look at what is happening there. Now, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has inaugurated a grand temple to Hindu god Ram in the flashpoint city of Ayodhya. He said it heralds a new era for India. The temple replaces a 16th century mosque torn down by Hindu mobs in 1992, sparking riots in which nearly 2,000 people died. Top film stars and cricketers were among guests at the event in Ayodhya. But some Hindu seers and most of the opposition boycotted it, saying Mr. Modi was using it for political gains. General elections are due in India in the next few months, and Mr. Modi, Modi's political rival, says the governing Bharatiya Janata Party, the BJP, will be seeking votes in the temple name in a country where 80% of the population is Hindu. Do you see the same template being used elsewhere? And somebody say, where? Let's go there. That is the United States of America. Now, Florida's governor, Ron DeSantis, has dropped out of the 2024 presidential race and endorsed Donald Trump. He quit ahead of the Republican primary elections in New Hampshire, where he was polling in the single digits. Mr. DeSantis was once considered a strong contender for the party's nomination, but on Sunday, he said he did not have a clear path to victory. Nikki Haley, Mr. Trump's last remaining challenger, said he was the only one able to beat U.S. President Joe Biden. Now, Ms. Haley will go head to head with Mr. Trump in New Hampshire on Tuesday, the second in a series of state-by-state contests to pick a Republican nominee for the November general elections. In nearly 5 minutes long video on X, formerly Twitter, on Sunday afternoon, Mr. DeSantis said his campaign had left it all out on the field. If there was anything I could do to produce a favorable outcome, more campaign stops or more interviews, I would do it, he added as he ended his 7-month campaign. The Florida governor said he was endorsing Mr. Trump, who is the clear frontrunner after winning the first contest in Iowa with 51% of the vote. Mr. DeSantis said it had become clear that the majority of Republican voters want to give Donald Trump another chance. Another chance to do what? To right the wrongs that he did? Or what? Isn't it quite interesting? Well, Starr Radio UK. Now, in other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world, at least 8 people are dead and dozens missing in Yunnan landslide. At least 8 people have died and dozens are still missing after a landslide struck China's southwestern province, Yunnan. The landslide in Zhaotong City happened at 05:51 hours local time, 21:51 GMT on Monday, trapping 47 people. The President Xi Jinping had ordered an all-out rescue in the area, which is experiencing sub-zero temperatures. The cause of the landslide remains unclear, but the remote mountains region is prone to them. Now, more than 500 people were evacuated from their homes. Nearly 1,000 rescue workers were dispatched to the site. Chinese Vice Premier Zhang Gungjing reportedly led a group to the site to guide rescue operations there as well. Listeners, Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. 2 U.S. Navy SEALs who went missing during an operation to seize Iranian-made weapons bound for Houthi in Yemen are now presumed dead, the U.S. military have said. The incident took place on 11th of January when commandos were boarding a ship off the coast of Somalia. Now, according to media reports, one was swept away and the second jumped in after them following protocol. The U.S. Central Command said attempts are now being made to recover the bodies. We mourn the loss of our 2 naval special warfare warriors, and we will forever honor their sacrifices and example, said the head of Central Command, CENTCOM, General Michael Eric Kurilla. Now, air and naval units from the U.S. and Japan and Spain spent 10 days searching an area of more than 21,000 square miles to try and find the commando with the help of oceanographers and meteorologists. Now, Navy SEALs are members of the Specialist Maritime Military Force responsible for tasks including reconnaissance and carrying out covert operations. Well, listeners, this is Star Radio UK, and this is the Monday edition of the morning show. Let's come to the UK front. Now, Storm Isha, thousands of people across Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, and Northwest England have spent the night without power. Now, after Storm Isha battered the UK with strong winds and heavy rains, the gusts of 99 miles per hour, at 159 kilometers per hour, were recorded in Northumberland, and travel disruption is set to continue into the afternoon. An 84-year-old man in Fife, Scotland, died after a car he was a passenger in crashed into a fallen tree. A Met Office yellow warning for wind remaining across the UK until midday. The Met Office said damage to homes and buildings, fallen trees, power cuts, and flying debris should be expected, with gusts of 50 to 60 miles per hour forecast inland, potentially reaching 70 to 80 miles in exposed coastal stretches. The highest gust so far recorded was 99 miles per hour at Breasley Wood in Northumberland. The winds meant hundreds of flights were cancelled across the UK, and some who did make it into the air didn't land in their intended destination. There's a story that says an EasyJet flight from Edinburgh to Bristol on Sunday afternoon was diverted to Paris. As the original journey was domestic, many passengers had left their passports at home and spent the night stranded in the terminal in Charles de Gaulle. A twin flight traveling from Sharm el Sheikh to Glasgow Airport declared an emergency because of the storm and diverted to Manchester Airport, and holiday makers returning from Tenerife on a Ryanair flight landed at Cologne-Bonn Airport in Germany after failing to touch down in Edinburgh. Wow. Okay, listeners, it is Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. One more before we take a break, and I take you straight to Cyprus, where our own HRH, Linda Pallien, is to bring you Career 101. There are 11 Conservative MPs who defied the Prime Minister over his Rwanda migrant plan last week are being called in by the government to explain themselves. The Tory backbenchers, including the former Home Secretary Suella Braverman and the former Immigration Minister Robert Jenrick, are expected to meet the government's chief whip, Simon Hart, later. Mr. Hart, whose job is to ensure the government wins votes in the House of Commons, will meet the MPs one-on-one. Having been asked to do so by the Prime Minister, senior government figures say the meeting, which are often standard practice after a high-profile rebellion, are about sending a message that rebelling is not going to be tolerated going forward. They are also about the government attempting to illustrate its power after a week in which the power, authority and judgment of Rishi Sunak was repeatedly, noisily questioned by plenty on his own side. The threat that rebelling is not going to be tolerated is vague, and it meant to be so. It can be read as final warning that behaving in a similar way again might lead MPs to be thrown out of the parliamentary party. But it doesn't commit number 10 to doing this. So what is it going to do there? So they say, well, because they left your camp, so now you are being nasty to them. Oh, well, interesting listeners. This is Starr Radio UK, and this is the morning show. Wherever you are, don't even think of touching the dial. I'm gonna be with you in a moment. Okay, so let's take a break. And once we come back, I'll be bringing you HRH Linda Pallien. Stay tuned.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
You're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy, you're stressed out, tired. Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy, JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenating, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep. That and you are maybe experiencing something in that nature. But you want to know more? You want to know more about that? Just stay with us whilst we have Linda to throw more light on it. And as and when you have any questions, you can just put them through and I'll pose it to her. If not, at the close of the program, she's going to put her details there as well. You can get in touch with her because there are a lot of things that she's got up her sleeves that if you don't ask, you wouldn't know. But that's what we are delivering this afternoon. Over to you, cancel culture. What is it all about?
Fantastic. So cancel culture, I think cancel culture is more of an American term, but of course it happens worldwide. This is where, due to the practice of withdrawing support for a particular person due to their actions or behavior. So, for example, in the UK, we have all of the protests against Boris resigning. We've got Djokovic. Various celebrities have gone through some form of cancel culture, and it seems to be getting more and more rampant, especially during the last few years with the pandemic upon us and people having perhaps too much time on their hands, free time, or maybe because we're more socially active. This is primarily on social media, maybe because we're more socially active as well. We're seeing a lot more of these things than we would if things were before the pandemic. So I just wanted to discuss this because, of course, how does it affect businesses? It's not just celebrities anymore. Anybody could have a bad experience. I mean, this is a totally new thing. It's old as giving reviews on TripAdvisor or whatever it is, but it seems to be getting more and more common.
Yeah.
People experience different things and different views are shared. So I wanted us to discuss it. If you're in the position that some of this might affect you or affect your employer or somewhere you work for, how does that shape you in terms of building your career? And I know a lot of people are now a bit too scared to speak up because you just never know who's the opinion. And twisted in a way that you need a whole PR team to even get out of that one. So I think it's very important for careers to discuss that. Now we'll talk about cancel culture. So critics have said, people that study cancel culture have said it's a form of social activism, or it's almost like a vote as well, because when you like, support, follow someone on social media, you're giving them your support. And when you decide to unfollow them or call for them to be cancelled, it's you exercising your right and exhibiting your feelings on their behavior or what they've done and what it stands for. It's a very interesting topic to me, and it's one of these that you have to tread lightly as well.
Yes, of course.
Regardless of your views on a particular opinion, it's what's the best way to go about doing that. As an individual, a lot of our listeners might not be in the position where their jobs are necessarily rioted against if it needs to be cancelled. But how do you express your opinion without jeopardizing your job or your position? So the first thing is how it's done. Whether you're going to make a claim backed by evidence. If you're going to get involved in this discussion on social media, it's the words that are used, whether it's condemning or more critical, and where you get your evidence from as well. Whether your argument is well researched, or if it's jumping on a bandwagon. So if you're going to get involved in these are some of the things that you need to consider. How this comes across and who's viewing it as well. Do your bosses or your stakeholders, that's people you work with or people that you depend on to support you, whether it's customers, do they have access to this? And does it come across as constructive rather than destructive? And what's the impact on your company the employers you're working for, and if it might be construed as a public opinion rather than or corporate opinion rather than an individual opinion, and if it's worth even making that distinction.
Let me quickly just ask a question there. Listeners, you are listening to Career 101 on Star Radio UK with our own HRH Linda Pallien all the way in Cyprus. And today we are looking at cancel culture. Now, how do you relate that to whistleblowers? How do you relate that to whistleblowers?
That's interesting. A whistleblower, as I understand it, will be someone that calls out something that they strongly believe in.
Okay.
And in a way that's similar to cancel culture.
Okay.
But I guess the difference between whistleblowing is backing it by facts. And standing up for something that you believe in. It's not necessarily the most popular content.
Yeah.
But I think cancel culture is more. Well, it's very similar, right?
Yeah. They seem to cross paths. Yeah.
I mean, the most popular whistleblower we know is Julian Assange with WikiLeaks, and sometimes we care about what's being released, and sometimes it's so far not related to your day to day that you don't care.
Yeah.
So I think whistleblowers is actually a profession, going into details.
Really?
And almost truth seeking. Yeah.
Investigative journalism.
There you go. Whereas cancel culture is something like it's almost joining in the public debate.
Okay. All right, listeners, let's go back to Linda. Let her continue. Over to you, Linda, please.
So in your career, exactly, and it's not necessarily bad to take part in this, because we know that if you don't stand for something, you fall for everything. And actually, if you want to build a good personal brand, you should take a personal interest and a professional interest in issues that affect your field of business. So it's sometimes it's necessary to be involved or to give an opinion or to join the discussion about a particular topic in the workplace. But it becomes harmful when it's gone too far, or if you're seen to be perhaps not accommodating of different opinions. And I think a lot of people, and I've seen this a lot, is they want to engage in a discussion, but it's not necessarily a discussion. It's I'm going to tell you how wrong you are, and then try to impose my opinions on you.
Yeah.
That's the debate in modern society, and with the political debate, it's. A lot of it has resorted to cheap and low blows, than arguing a point and actively listening.
Yeah.
For the other person's perspective, and then agreeing to disagree, or if you've been won over, admitting, well, you have a point there. That doesn't happen anymore. Our leaders don't even set this example anymore.
Yeah.
It's really hard to blame this on the younger generation.
Well, I beg to differ there. I think the younger generation are the ones who are very fast when it comes to their fingers, just typing everything.
But that's the thing, they've learned it because our leaders haven't set good examples.
Okay.
A few years back, we had debate societies, and that's common. And and you learned how to communicate.
Yeah.
Without making it personally, without attacking someone personally.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a while ago, but even Trump's debate when he was getting into office.
Yeah.
That was just
okay.
So anyway, the weekend I saw this protest with the Boris.
The Partygate issue. Yeah.
Yes, and there was a guy there that took his mask off, and I think that we're going maybe too far with cancel.
Yeah.
You know. Okay, someone does something wrong, we call them out on it.
Mm-hmm.
Does that really affect their integrity of
the person or
of their ability to rule? And do we have a suitable replacement if we do that? You know, we're all for tear them down, but we don't see anyone queuing to do this.
Who's going to replace them? Who's going to work or do what they are doing? The good deeds. How is it going to be reckoned? They don't look at that at all.
Exactly. So if you're going to get involved in cancel culture, it's important to come from more of an intellectual and a holistic form of thinking. And of course, everyone makes mistakes as well. You know, and I think, and this is why everyone's so afraid to become a public figure these days. You know, because it's easy for people to go through your past and interpret something just to make a point. I'll give you an example. I have a cousin of mine who is part of the lawmakers. He's an economist in Washington, and they're trying to pass a bill about taxes, how to reform the tax system. And he went into this panel of these different parties because, of course, they're about to vote for it. And he was surprised to find that they'd gone into his past and all the papers he's published before and trying to discredit him just because he's the economist who's done the maths about
and say that what they are going to do is not going to work out. So yes, it's sad. It's sad.
And I think that's what we should be thinking about. You know, like I mean, there's so many examples these days. J.K. Rowling, Noam Chomsky, whoever. You know, so whether we I think, just to summarize the argument, it's are we trying to squash opposing ideas and encouraging intolerance and normative thinking, or are we open for discussion and helping these different perspectives that are necessary for social progress? And if you find yourself in that situation in your career, then this is why it's important to align whatever you do with your values, because if you feel so strongly about it, like some of these celebrities have, regardless of whether they're being cancelled or deported or whatever, they still stand by their values.
Yeah.
If you're not ready to stand by a decision, then maybe think before.
Think again before you embark on it.
Going all the way. And if you're going to go all the way, I think people respect people that have strong opinions. So whether it's not, even if it's not the public opinion, if you have strong feelings about it and strong arguments for it, then be prepared to stand by what you believe in until the bitter end. You know, and you will be the first person that's died for their beliefs. You know, Jesus died for his beliefs, and so did some, and a lot of other people.
Okay, listeners, let's continue with the discussions. I know it's gone past one, but it's quite an interesting discussion we're having today, looking at cancel culture. Just bear with us. Don't go away. Linda will continue with it. Over to you, Linda.
Okay, so to summarize, it's important to remember the price that someone's paying for their beliefs, you know, and how it might affect them, you know. And again, this goes with cancel culture, what you say on social media, but also reviews you leave. You know, so someone might have bad customer service and completely slate someone's character online and attack their family, and you have no idea what they're going through. And then, of course, when you receive a refund, you're not going to go back and eat your words on social media. Most people forget about it. So it's important to think of the effect of what you support, what you're supporting has to all the way through, and whether it's worth doing it. There's nothing wrong with expressing your opinion or having strong opinions about a particular behavior or society or a particular behavior or belief, but it's when you rally else against them, or try and twist other people using your influence just because you're in that position, that's when it becomes a bit detrimental to social progress. It's really important to understand where you stand on it, how it affects your career, and also not be afraid to stand up if it's a core of your values, or what it's core to your beliefs. I think it's a great thing to be able to have strong principles and stand by them.
Okay. Well, listeners, cancel culture. Are you ready to stand or prepared to stand by what you believe in? I mean, like, and even when you are doing that, I call it castigating somebody. Do you think that just looking at, I mean, as the what do you call it? The literature, the laureate wrote, what do you call him? Where he said that the good deeds of men are written on water, but the bad deeds are written on brass. So people just start and then that's what a person did, but they've forgotten about all the good deeds that you have done. But when you're doing that thing, you have to think and think through. How is it going to even impact you yourself in the future? Because one day you might go to a panel and they said, well, we cannot employ you because we are somebody who just pills and just goes on that part and just destroying people. What about that? I'm not saying that don't, I mean, when somebody does something wrong, don't call the person out. No, that's not what we are saying. But at times, we have to give people the benefit of the doubt, because if you were in the same particular place, you might have done worse off. But what do you think? Well, it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK, HRH Linda Pallien. I know she summed everything up, but a quick one. So if somebody finds themselves in such a situation, what do you think they should do?
I think let's look at the whole picture. I think that's the best advice. The whole picture of, can I afford to be in this position? Can I afford to put my values first? If you're in the position that has the strong opinions, and for every opinion you have, every view that you have, you'll have people that support you and people against. So not being afraid to stand up and for what you believe in. Sorry, I just noticed there's some construction going on around me.
Yeah, it's okay.
So not being able to stand up, afraid to stand up for what you believe in, but also if you're the one that has strong opinions against or for a particular school of thought, to do that in a way that you can still keep your dignity and do that in a respectful way, the way that encourages a healthy debate, if anything, rather than a witch hunt.
Yeah. Okay, now listeners, there is a book, or there are a set of books that you need when it comes to your career. Maybe even this, it's a lecture that is going on, but she has a way of capturing every one of these in the book. So, well, these are the books for you, and Linda is going to talk about it to you as well. Get your hands on it. Over to you, Linda.
Fantastic. So, if you're thinking about your career, evaluating where you are, looking at the next step, or changing career completely, these are great resources for you. There's 3 books, and it depends on where you are. The first book, How to Career, is an overview of picking the right career, reassessing your career. Where am I at? Is this the right step for me? And how to move on from that. Career Success is the second book, which is a holistic how to progress in the chosen career. After you've chosen your career, how to get to the next level, how to leave a legacy, how to stand by your values, how to market yourself. So Career Success is really having that career and making it a success and a masterpiece. And of course, the third book, which is the Career Workbook, evaluates all of these things. It's a self-help workbook for your career, so you can personalize your progression plan. You have something to show for it. You can put it all in one place. And it gives you an overview of where you are at now, a snapshot view of where you are at in your career, and the next steps of how to make it what you need it to be.
Okay. So those are the books for you. The Ultimate Career Workbook. Yes, get your hands on that, and How to Career and Career Success. Please make sure you get your hands on that. It will help you a great deal. But Linda, before we go, if people want to get in touch with you, how do they do so?
Absolutely. The books are available on Amazon UK, Amazon.co.uk.com. Also in Europe, Amazon Germany.de. You can find them on Waterstones online. You can find them on Book Depository and any other online books. If you search Career by Linda Pallien, you'll find these books. And also you can contact me directly on my website, lindapallien.com. If you have any questions, if you'd like to work with me one-to-one, if you want to evaluate your career, of course I do that complimentary as well. So if you want to chat about your career, definitely you can contact me on my website, lindapallien.com, or on social media at Linda Pallien.
Okay. Linda, let me say a massive thank you very much for this wonderful, wonderful presentation that you've done today.
My pleasure. And sorry about being late. I promise I'm getting better.
She's getting better. She's getting better. Yes. Okay, have a lovely day. We'll catch up later then.
You too. Thanks for having me.
Bye. You're welcome. Bye. Well, listeners, that was HRH Linda Pallien for you, bringing you Career 101. And today we looked at the cancel culture. Now, do you think that it helped you? Do you think they have an issue about that? Yeah, feel free and get in touch with us, and she will seek to address and the books that she's talking about there. Please make sure you get your hands on it, and it will help you a great deal. So on that note, let me say thank you very much for tuning in. This afternoon I'm going to bring you lots of music, and then this evening we'll be bringing you On Point with Regina and Nima, and then all roads leads to the the reggae time with the maestro Mr. Dave West, Unconscious Reggae. Yes, and tomorrow, God willing, we'll come back with another edition of the morning show. Once again, I apologize sincerely to our Facebook followers for the disruption in the broadcast there. You've not been able to listen to us on that, but we are transmitting live on YouTube, and our technical team are working assiduously to resolve the issue that is going on. So on that note, let me say thank you very much. It's been me, Archie. So you have a top of the day. Enjoy this tune, Sikampo, and when it ends and you don't hear from me, I say have a good day. Bye bye for now.
she bad yeah, I go so I read who the wire, see a boat, a Mexican so I was so shower, see actually he a fancy come I come yeah dear, got the car any penny and support, or brother she is a metro, go on, I tell you the piano yeah.
Switch to Chrome to protect yourself from malware. Less worrying, more surfing.
02 or 002332006. Hey, Charlie, you're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy, you stressed out, tired. Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy, JN Mobile Spa will provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenated, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233244941 002 or 00233200606 and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep. Okay, so let me say thank you very much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure coming your way. Tomorrow, God willing, we'll be back with another edition of the morning show, and I will have my team with me as well. So on that note, God richly bless you and thank you for joining us. It's been me, your one and only Archie, saying have a wonderful day and bye-bye for now.